Hey guys! Today we're going to be doing a foundation review and wear test on the newish, this is newish, right? Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. This was requested by a viewer. Sorry my lights reflect off this so much, maybe that's a little better. This was a request from a viewer, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, and I had the request to review this continuously pop up, so I was at Target and I saw it and I thought, let's give this a go. So I picked up the shade LN4. I guess is my shade. I'll be honest, the shade range that was available to me at Target was not very broad, and this one seemed to be a little too light, but the one that was the next shade up seemed to be really dark. And when I run into that situation, I always like to go a little bit lighter because I can warm up the face with bronzer, but what I really don't like is when I have a face that's just way too dark for my body. So this is the shade that I chose. I'm gonna read you a couple of bullet points of this foundation before we apply it and get started. Okay, so this foundation comes in this bottle. It's a very beautiful bottle. It looks very high-end, quite honestly. It almost reminds me of like a Dior foundation bottle. It's glass, it's heavy, it looks very high-end, very luxury, especially for drugstore. It retails for $12.99. You get 1 ounce, which is pretty typical in a foundation. It has a, see, this is kind of odd. So this was a little tricky for me when I opened it. I popped off the top and I'm like, hey, what's going on there? But then I realized you actually twist the top off and the applicator is like so. It reminds me of the Clinique Conceal and Perfect foundation. The applicator is just like this, which I'm not really a huge fan of that applicator, to be honest. I don't know why, I just don't prefer to apply my foundation that way. I'm not sure why, but yeah, not a huge fan of that. It says that it is for all skin types. I'm going to read you a couple other benefits. This is just straight off of what I found online. So the Healthy Foundation by Physicians Formula does have an SPF of 20. It is packed with vitamins and antioxidants for healthy coverage. It says Chinese Wuzu Yu extract and hyaluronic acid. Infused formula brightens, hydrates, and evens the skin tone. Its brightening complex is for all skin types. Okay, so I guess oily, dry combo, it doesn't matter. It's for all skin types is what it's claiming. It is also an ultra blendable, lightweight, buildable, and breathable formula. That all sounds lovely. Let's see if that's really true. Find your perfect shade of Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. All right, and again, I have the color LN4. All right, so let's give this a go. I have a beauty blender, and then I also have a foundation brush in front of me. This is the e.l.f. Flawless Face Brush. I really like this foundation brush. I have a few that I really enjoy. This is kind of one that I've been grabbing a lot lately. So we are going to, so as far as like priming my skin, what do I have on? I have on the Drunk Elephant, what is the name of it? It's not the La La Retro Whipped, it's the other moisturizer that comes in a tub. I just picked it up last week. I'll leave it linked down below, but from my first impressions is that it's not quite as heavy as the La La Retro Whip, and I'm still deciding if I prefer the La La over this one, but I have that on my skin. I also have the Drunk Elephant tinted sunscreen on my skin, and then I have a little bit of the Rodan & Fields, what is the name of it? It's not the eye cream, but it's the hydration eye cream that comes in the tube. I should know this, but I have that under my eyes, and that is all I have on my skin. I don't have any primer or anything like that. I'm gonna try this foundation without primer today. It is currently 9:30 in the morning, 9:31. Show you right there. I have actually a park play date with my kids that I need to leave for in like 30 minutes. So we'll be at the park for a few hours. Then I'm just gonna be running errands. But I have a full day, kind of busy go-go. I'm getting my hair done later this evening. I think I'm gonna cut it. I might actually get on Instagram and ask you guys what you think, but I'm thinking, I'm like so fed up with my hair. I'm ready to chop most of it off. So yeah, busy day. I'm gonna check in with you guys throughout the day and see how this wears. But let's go ahead and get started. So I will apply the right side of my face with a brush. See, I always pull it off, but you don't pull it off, you twist it off. All right, so this is the applicator. And I'm telling you, this looks pretty light. I did wear this once in a video and I felt like it was really light. All right. So that's not a whole lot of product. I know it looks like it, but I didn't really, there's not a whole lot that came off from the applicator, so I always like to start with a little bit of product and then build if I need it, especially because this says that this foundation is buildable. I don't want to go in with too much. Now I like to just press my foundation brush. I like this brush because it's flatter. You can see that it has a nice kind of flat little edge. I don't know if you can, there you go, that's a little better view. So I just kind of press that in first. Then I'll go back if I need to and just kind of blend out the edges around the perimeter of my face so I don't get that harsh line. But if you just do this technique all over the face, what you're kind of doing is you're just shearing the product out. By pressing it in like this, you're gonna get more coverage from the product. The product's gonna give you better mileage in terms of coverage, if that makes sense. So I just press, 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 press. Some foundations, this is the only technique you have to do because the foundations are really blendable. I feel like this is kind of one of them, actually. All right. So my first thought is very sheer, natural coverage. Doesn't look like I've covered much. I'm gonna let you see, compare the two sides. So this is nothing. This is one kind of sheer layer of the foundation. What do you think? Yeah, definitely evens out the skin tone. I can definitely see, you know, a little more pinkness here than I do on this side of the face. So very natural coverage. The finish to me, let me grab the mirror. The finish to me looks very natural. It doesn't look overly dewy and it doesn't look matte. It does have a little bit of a glow. The tinted moisturizer from Drunk Elephant does have a pretty significant glow, so I think that that's having a role in how this foundation looks right now. I'm gonna go in and add a little bit more just in the center of my face here and a little bit on the forehead, just to see how much more coverage I can get and how buildable it really is. Okay. I feel like it is accentuating my pores and my texture here on my skin. Do you see that right here in the center of my face? I feel like it is making that more noticeable. Okay, so on this side of my face, we're gonna use a beauty blender. So I have a damp beauty blender here. I'm gonna go in and apply it the same way by just kind of dotting it on my skin. I assume that I'll be needing to use more of it since I am using a beauty blender. I assume I'll be needing to apply a little bit more foundation to get the same coverage. We shall see. It does blend in really easily, like very quickly, very effortlessly. I think the shade is a tad bit too light for me. It's hard to tell because you guys can't see my neck, but I think this foundation is just a little too light. How many shades does it come in? I should have told you that. Let me check. Okay, so it comes in 12 shades on Ulta's website. I don't think that I saw 12 shades at the Target store that I purchased it from, but 12, it's still kind of limited. Okay, definitely a more sheer application with the Beauty Blender. I'm gonna go back and add a little bit more. Around my nose too. I feel like I didn't get much coverage there. Okay. I'm looking at the clock. I'm supposed to pick up my daughter's friend in 20 minutes. I better hustle. Okay, so after 2 layers here in the center of my face, I still feel like you can see some pinkness under here. So I definitely would classify this as more of a natural coverage, more maybe sheer to medium. I don't think you're gonna get full coverage out of this foundation. I do think you can build it and get maybe just under medium coverage, but it is pretty natural to me. Okay, so that's after I've applied 2 layers over my entire face, one side with a brush, one side with a beauty blender. In terms of which I prefer, I think I would have to say the brush. I feel like the brush just gives a little bit more coverage, and because this foundation is more on the sheer side, using a beauty blender, you're just gonna go through more product than you may need, and it doesn't really change the finish of it or the way that it looks. My first impression of this foundation is it is accentuating a lot of pores in my skin, even on my forehead, which I don't really notice that on my forehead. It's making them stand out right now. Yeah, I feel like it is accentuating the pores on my face. It has a pretty little glow to it. It does make the skin look healthy, but again, I think that can't get past the accentuation of my pores. I feel like that is a lot. I feel like most foundations don't make them look this obvious. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and apply the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. All right, so we're back. So I did set it with the Danessa Myricks loose powder, which I think I've always said this before about that powder and I really think it's true. It tends to like soften the appearance of pores, and I think it kind of did with this foundation. It definitely did on my forehead. Underneath my eyes, I use the Color Science Total Renewal 3-in-1, and that's all I used. I didn't use any concealer on top of that. And then I set that with the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. So if I'm looking at my skin right now, I actually kind of like it a little bit better than I did before I applied powder. Before I applied powder, I was thinking, I don't really think I like this one. It just looks like it's magnifying all my pores. It felt kind of heavy and sticky on the skin, but setting it definitely made a difference. I'm looking in the mirror and I think that it's prettier, and it is a foundation that I would wear. But yeah, we're gonna see how this wears throughout the day. It's pretty chilly outside, so it's not a hot or humid day. It's kind of dry, so I think that if anything, it's gonna work in favor of this foundation. I don't know, you guys. I kind of feel like in between my brows, I don't know, it just has this heavy feel to it. Even though it's not full coverage, it just feels a little heavy to me. Let's see, when I make weird faces, does it accentuate stuff? I don't know, it just looks real heavy to me around the nose area. I can already kind of see it there. Yeah, I think this foundation accentuates pores. Let me see if you can see that. Do you see that right there? Like, this usually is not so apparent to me as much as it is right now. But we're gonna give this foundation a fair shot. It is 9:47 a.m. right now. Like I said, I have a very busy day. I will check in with you guys a few times and we will see how this foundation wears. All right, I'll see you in a bit. Hey guys, it is, what time is it? 1:16. So the makeup has been on for 3.5 hours, is that right? 3.5 hours? I just checked in the mirror because it's hard for me to see myself in the viewfinder, and I am seeing quite a bit of buildup around my nose. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me see. So I'm standing in front of this light. Okay, I'm standing in front of this natural light. It might be too much light, but can you see this buildup around my nose? Okay, that's good. There we go. That's a little too much. Let me go find a better place, actually. Let's go outside. So we were at the park for about 2 hours. It's a beautiful day in Austin. It's a little chilly, but the sun is out, so it's just like perfect. It's warm, but it's not hot. Okay, this might be better. Yes. So, I don't know if you can see it, but it is definitely starting to build up around my nose and on my nose. I feel like it looks like makeup. There's not really any shine. I don't feel the need to set it or anything. I don't feel like it's getting dewy or oily looking on me. I just think that it does like tend to kind of build on any texture that I have on my skin. And I mean, I don't have a ton of texture, like I have larger pores, but like any fine hairs or fine lines, I feel like it just kind of sits there and I don't know, it doesn't really look like skin. I don't know, I don't really know that I like the way that it looks, but this is 3.5 hours. As far as wearability, it's still on, it's still got good coverage, nothing's worn off yet. It's not, you know, like I said, I haven't need to touch up. I don't even think I need to powder it at this point. So I think it's good in that sense. I just think that it looks a little heavy around the center of my face. So, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm about to pack my kids up and we're gonna go to my mom's house and they're gonna stay with her this afternoon. I have a hair appointment and I'll just be running some other errands. I might go and try to do like a try-on video at Nordstrom if I have time. Oh, super dark. Okay. Come on, Maxie. But yeah, that is kind of what our day looks like today. So I will check back in with you. Oh, it's super dark. Okay, so I will check back in with you guys in probably another 2 to 3 hours and we'll see where we are at. All right, I need to turn this way. Hey guys! So it's 5 o'clock, so I think it's been 4 hours since my last check-in. And this is what my skin looks like. I feel like it's definitely looking a little dry. I did touch up with some Becca setting powder. I was in Sephora and I touched up because I felt like I was shiny. But I just asked Gracie, my hairstylist, say hi Gracie. Hi! To tell me what she thinks about the way my skin looks, and I want you to say what do you think my foundation looks like?
So normally I feel like her skin, it has a little bit more of a glow to it, and it's a little bit smoother. Her skin does look really great, but she has great skin. So compared to other foundations I see, it's not my favorite on her, but it still works.
Yeah, I feel like it looks real, I don't know, I feel like it accentuates my texture there. Like, yes. I feel like you can see all my pores and yes. It looks a little heavy in the center of my face. So anyway, just that check-in. So it's 5 o'clock, so I'll check back in with you guys in a couple hours. I'm gonna cut all my hair off, by the way. Hey guys, I got my hair cut today. I like it. so much healthier. My ends were getting so damaged and dry that I just was like, I had enough, I had to let it go. Okay, so it's 7:15 p.m. So the foundation's been on for like 9.5 hours. Is that right? 9.5 hours? Yeah, I think that's right. 9.5 hours. Anyway, I just looked in the mirror and I'm really not liking the way that this looks. I realized that this lighting here is not the best. Let me see if you can see it. It just looks so makeup-y right here in the center of my face. And I think that it's looked this way since well, not this bad, but even when I first applied it, I didn't like the way that it looked, and it's just gotten progressively worse throughout the day. I feel like when I make these little faces, you just really see the makeup build up. Not a fan. I'm gonna go in front of a big window so you can get a better view of what it looks like, kind of with more natural light. It's 7:15, so it's not like super sunny. Let's go check it out. Okay, so we're in front of this window. It's kind of dusk. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, it's not looking good either. My makeup's just not looking good right now. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of this foundation. I just don't like the way that it looks on my skin at all. I'm not a fan of this foundation. I don't really like the way that it looked initially when I first applied it, and I definitely don't like the way that it looks now. As far as like getting oily or needing to touch up, I only felt like I needed touch-ups as far as like oil production once throughout the day, and that was when I was at Sephora and I used a Becca setting powder. But so it doesn't get like super shiny or oily looking, but I just feel like it magnifies the texture on my skin. I don't know. I mean, do you see that? Look at that. It's just not pretty. Yeah, not a fan of this foundation. I don't know. I know that Angie from Hot and Flashy reviewed this foundation. I just saw it pop up, but I didn't watch her full video, so I'm curious. I'm actually going to go watch that video and see what her thoughts were on it, because I'd be curious to know what was her experience like, you know, how did she feel about it. But, you know, my skin is pretty normal. Like, it's not excessively oily and it's not really dry right now. It's just kind of combination in between the two. But yeah, not a fan. I don't think I like this one. I might be gifting this one. I don't think I'm going to use it again. So anyway, hope you guys found this video helpful. Leave me all your questions and comments down below. If you try this foundation and you love it, let me know. Again, remember, foundation and skincare is not like a one-size-fits-all. So even though I might love something or dislike something, doesn't mean that you're going to have the same experience with it. So, you know, I hope my opinion helps in your research, but I would definitely, you know, watch other videos, watch other reviews, kind of get a whole 360 perspective on this product. But yeah, this is just my personal experience with it. I hope this was helpful. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.